The other thing that I think really needs to be said is, and Kyle Kalinske brought this up when he covered it, and I think he's spot on. What happened cannot be laid squarely at the feet of Trump. Granted, he has created this cult, basically, of people who hang on his every word, it seems like. The media has enabled that for sure, in the way that they cover it. But what Kyle pointed out was the riots at the Capitol, the fact that these people rioted at the behest of a narcissistic con man, it really shows that societal trust in all of our basic institutions is crumbling. People don't trust the media. Mm-hmm. People don't. I mean, even organizations that rightly or wrongly are more revered as being more factual and objective, like the New York Times, a lot of people don't trust them, and there's a lot of people, a lot of liberals who roll their eyes and think, oh yeah, right-wing conspiracy theorists, you don't believe journalists. And it's like, the New York Times helped fly us into Iraq. The New York Times helped push Russiagate, which is a totally debunked, evidence-free conspiracy theory. And not it's weird that anytime I say anything that could be remotely misconstrued as a defense of Trump, I feel like I need to say, hey, I don't like Trump. It's like this knee-jerk, because Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. But it's no fucking wonder these people don't trust anything they hear from the media. And so when there's somebody that for some fucking reason they culturally relate to, because for some reason Trump is really good at making people feel like he's a man of them. He's somebody that they would like to hang out with, somebody who has their interest at heart, even though he's just another fucking oligarch. He's so good at that, and he's so good at telling them. He takes nuggets of truth, like, oh yeah, the media is lying to you all the time. Oh yeah, the military industrial complex wants us to be at war all the time. And then he uses those little nuggets of truth, these things that politicians tend not to admit, and he uses that to gain the trust of these people who don't know the full breadth of how awful he is. They don't know what a warmongering, corrupt piece of shit he is. And so when he tells them, oh yeah, no, they rigged the election and everyone's lying to you about it, of course they believe him. And granted, that's sad, but before I am not making this point very well. The point is, our institutions have failed us. The reason nobody believes the New York Times, the reason nobody believes MSNBC, CNN, even Fox News or whatever. I say even because you would expect people who are Trump supporters to believe Fox News. But the reason that they don't believe these institutions is because these institutions repeatedly lie. And even when they're telling the truth, their coverage is so obviously slanted. It's so obviously pushing an agenda. And it's no fucking wonder. So I think it's easy to look at what happened and just blame Trump for it. And I think he does deserve a lot of blame, but it's a bigger indictment, I think, of how much so many of the institutions, both public and private, that are supposed to help our society be richer and more well-informed, how much those institutions have been mismanaged, because otherwise you wouldn't have angry mobs of people so easily conned by this narcissistic grifter.
I agree with your points, all the points that you're making.
Sorry it took me so long to make them.
No, that's okay. It's very hard to wrap your head around, and like I totally get it. It's difficult because there's so many things that there's so many things that like to unpack with the one side versus the other. The people who follow Trump, there's people who follow Trump. There's people, if you there's people who voted for him, but you know are still in the middle, and then he does stuff like his tweets, and they're like, oh my God, shut up. And then there's people on the left who, or if you put the spectrum in the middle, you have like your people on the, how is this going to be perceived, on the right? Is that the right to you? Anyway,
that's the left to me, but yeah.
There's like Trump. Okay, there's like Trump, and then there's like extremists, and sorry, other way, extremists, Trump, moderate right. You can see where I'm going with this. Is that I don't know where I'm going with this because and the reason why is because there's so much to unpack with the That's what I'm trying to say. You don't know how people are reacting to any of this. It's like how you really have to just go to each of 300 million Americans and be like, what do you think of this? What do you think? Because the news is going to tell you how people are reacting, but they're not telling you how people are. They're telling you how politicians are reacting, who are getting told how to react. So in a sense, you're getting no sort of you're getting told how you perceive emotionally how this whole event played out by news media who's are actors. I mean, these news anchors are telling you how you should feel, but they're actors. They're getting their stuff from someone else, whoever that person may be or that group. You know what I mean? So like, and that's projected on the people, and then you can be, you could be a hard Trump.
Sorry, hang on one second.
You're good. Trump
Sorry
supporter,
about that.
and then I can't remember where I was, but you could be a Trump supporter and not buy into any of it. You could be a Trump supporter and only buy some of it, and you could be a Trump supporter and buy all. You know what I mean? Like every pocket of supporter.
Most of the Trump supporters I've met, not that I've met a ton, but the ones that I've met have almost always said, I wish he would put his phone away, but I like that he's holding China accountable or some shit like that.
Right. There's Trump supporters who showed up at the Capitol who did this stuff. They're the ones who are buying all of it. And then there's the ones that are listening to Fox News, and Fox News is saying this is not good, guys. Trump shouldn't be doing this. So they're being told by Fox News how to react to this. And then there's people who, on the other side of the spectrum, more left leaning. There's the people in the middle. Anyway, they're being told how to react by CNN. There's people on the far left who were just going to criticize him no matter what. And so it's just so much to unpack because there's so many different perceived responses, emotional responses, any sort of response to this whole situation. And I think that's what is making it so difficult for this whole situation. It just makes everything feel off. Something feels off about this whole thing,
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that sense, but
no, I totally do it. It all feels so. There's something surreal about it.